Yo, what's up everyone? It's Gary here, and today we're diving deep into the world of design. Have you ever looked at a design and felt like something was just off? Like the colors clashed, the text was hard to read, or the whole thing just felt kind of chaotic? On the flip side, you've definitely seen designs that just work. They're clean, engaging, and everything feels like it has its place. That's the power of design principles. These tools separate average designs from the truly exceptional. And the best part? You don't have to be a design wizard to use them. Whether it's a website, presentation, or social media, these principles can up your game. We're talking balance, contrast, alignment, the building blocks of good design. So, if you're ready to go from design zero to hero, buckle up, stick around, and you'll be designing like a pro in no time. First up, let's talk about balance. Now, before you start picturing perfectly symmetrical layouts, hold on. Balance in design is all about creating a sense of visual harmony. Think of it like this. You wouldn't want all the heavy elements of your design crammed onto one side, right? That's where balance comes in. It's about distributing the visual weight of your elements in a way that feels natural and pleasing to the eye. There are a few key types of balance you'll want to master. We've got symmetrical balance, which is all about creating equal weight on both sides of a central axis. This one's a classic for a reason, it just feels solid and reliable. Then there's asymmetrical balance, which is a bit more free-flowing. It's about using different elements on each side of the design but still achieving a sense of equilibrium. This one's great for creating more dynamic and visually interesting compositions. Now let's talk about when you might use each type of balance. Symmetrical balance is your go-to for creating a sense of formality, stability, and trustworthiness. Think of things like corporate logos, elegant invitations, or anything where you want to project a sense of classic sophistication. Asymmetrical balance, on the other hand, is all about energy, movement, and visual excitement. It's perfect for websites, posters, and designs where you really want to grab the viewer's attention and keep them engaged. And don't forget about radial balance, where elements radiate out from a central point. Think mandalas, clocks, even the design of a sunflower. It's a powerful way to draw the eye inward. The key takeaway here is that there's no one right way to achieve balance. It all depends on the specific message you're trying to convey and the overall feel you're going for. Experiment with different approaches and see what works best for your design. Alright, now that we've got balance down, let's talk about contrast. This one's all about making your design stand out from the crowd. Imagine looking at a website where everything is the same size, the same color, the same font. It'd be pretty dull, right? Contrast is what adds that visual punch, that element of surprise that makes people stop and pay attention. It's about creating a clear distinction between different elements in your design, so viewers can instantly understand what they're looking at. We're talking about things like light versus dark, big versus small, smooth versus textured. And the beauty of contrast is that it can be achieved in so many different ways. You can play with color contrast, size contrast, shape contrast, even the weight of your fonts. Each type of contrast adds its own unique flavor to your design. Think about it. Black text on a white background is a classic example of high contrast. It's easy on the eyes and makes the text super legible, but you could also achieve contrast with a dark gray text on a light gray background. It'd be a bit more subtle, a bit more refined. Or let's say you're designing a poster. You could create contrast by using a bold, eye-catching font for the headline and a smaller, more understated font for the body text. The contrast in size helps guide the viewer's eye and creates a clear hierarchy of information. And don't be afraid to experiment with different types of contrast within the same design. You could have a large, bold image as your focal point, and then use subtle color variations to create contrast within the image itself. It's all about finding that sweet spot where your design feels both balanced and visually engaging. Alright, so you've nailed balance and contrast, your design's really popping, but what about organization? That's where alignment comes in. Think of it like organizing your desk setup. A clean workspace equals a clean mind, right? In design, alignment brings that same order and structure. We're talking about making sure elements on your design have a clear visual connection, whether it's text, images, or those fancy graphics you spent hours perfecting. Without alignment, things can start to feel random, like they're just floating out there in design limbo, and nobody wants that. Trust me, a little alignment goes a long way. It's the subtle difference between a design that looks amateur and one that screams professionalism. Plus, it makes your design way easier to digest. Viewers won't be left wondering where to look next. Now, alignment isn't just about making things look neat and tidy. It's also about guiding the viewer's eye through your design. Think of it like invisible lines leading your audience from one element to the next, telling a story with every stop. We've got your classic left, right, and center alignment, perfect for text and creating a sense of formality or casualness. Then there's justified alignment, which can look super clean for large blocks of text. But things get really interesting with grid-based alignment. This is where the pros play, using a grid system to create a structured layout for websites, posters, you name it. It's like having a design blueprint that keeps everything perfectly aligned and visually balanced. So whether you're going for a classic aligned look or diving into the world of grids, remember, alignment is your secret weapon for creating a design that's both visually appealing and easy to navigate. We've talked about balance, contrast, and alignment, all crucial for a solid design foundation. But now, let's dive into the art of closeness, or as we design nerds call it, proximity. This principle is all about using space to communicate relationships between elements. Think about it, in real life we group things together to show they're connected, right? Your keys go on your keychain, your spices hang out in the spice rack, you get the idea. Well, proximity does the same thing for design. By placing related elements close together, you're instantly telling viewers, hey, these things are a team, they belong together. It's like creating mini families within your design, making it easier for the eye to understand and process the information. Without proximity, your design becomes a sea of randomness. Imagine a website where the logo is miles away from the navigation bar, or a poster with headlines scattered haphazardly across the page. It's just chaotic. But with a few strategic tweaks, you can transform that chaos into clarity. Group those related elements together, give them some breathing room from the unrelated, and bam! Your design suddenly makes sense. It's like taking a jumbled box of puzzle pieces and finally seeing those edges line up. And the best part is, you don't need any fancy design software to master proximity. It's all about training your eye to see those natural connections and using space intentionally. So remember, proximity is about more than just aesthetics. It's about creating a visual hierarchy that guides your audience and makes your design not only beautiful, but clear and easy to understand. We've covered a lot of ground, from balance and contrast to alignment and proximity. But there's another design principle that's key to tying it all together: repetition. This one's all about consistency, creating a sense of unity and rhythm throughout your design. Think of it like a song. You've got your melody, your harmony, your beat, all these elements repeating and intertwining to create a cohesive and memorable experience. Repetition in design works the same way. By repeating elements like colors, fonts, shapes, or even entire layouts, you're establishing a visual language for your design. It's like creating a signature style that people will instantly recognize and associate with your brand. Now, repetition isn't just about slapping the same element everywhere. It's about being strategic and intentional. Think about what elements you want to emphasize, what kind of mood you want to create. Take brand identity, for example. Using the same fonts and colors across your website, business cards, and social media creates a sense of professionalism and consistency. It tells the world, hey, we've got our act together, we know who we are. But repetition can be subtle too. Maybe you repeat a specific shape or pattern throughout a poster to create a visual theme. Or you use the same layout structure for each section of a website to improve navigation. The key is to find that sweet spot where repetition feels natural and purposeful, not forced or repetitive. When done right, it creates a sense of harmony and professionalism that elevates your design from good to great. Alright, so we've talked about arranging elements on the canvas, but what about guiding the viewer's eye? That's where hierarchy comes in. It's like the VIP section of your design, highlighting what's most important. And just like in the real world, size matters. Think about a movie poster, right? The title is usually the biggest thing you see, then maybe the lead actors' names. You don't see the gaffer's name in huge font for a reason. It's all about visual priority. The same principle applies to websites, apps, even a simple business card. The most crucial information, your name on a business card, the headline of an article, that needs to grab attention first. Then, as the viewer dives in, you can introduce secondary elements, smaller details, and supporting information. So, when you're laying out your design, ask yourself, what do I want people to see first? Make that element the most prominent, and then work your way down in terms of size. It's a simple but super effective way to create a clear and engaging visual flow. Now, size isn't the only way to create hierarchy. We've got color too. Think about warning signs. They're often bright yellow or red for a reason, to grab your attention instantly. In design, you can use color contrast to achieve a similar effect. A bright call to action button on a muted background will immediately draw the eye. It's like shining a spotlight on the most important action you want users to take. And then there's placement. Our eyes are naturally drawn to certain areas first, like the top center of a page. This is prime real estate for your most important message. Think about newspaper headlines. They're almost always at the top, grabbing your attention before you even start reading the article. So yeah, hierarchy isn't just about making things big. It's about strategically using size, color, and placement to guide the viewer's eye and create a clear path through your design. We've talked about arranging and highlighting elements, but what about the space between them? That's where white space comes in. And no, it doesn't have to be white. It's more about the negative space, the breathing room around your design elements. You know how some websites feel super cramped, like they're trying to cram every bit of information onto the screen at once? That's the opposite of using white space effectively. It's like trying to listen to a podcast where everyone's talking over each other. White space gives your design room to breathe, making it easier to digest and understand. It's like the difference between a crowded subway car and a spacious park. One makes you feel stressed, the other allows you to relax and take it all in. So don't be afraid to embrace the void. Give your elements some space to shine. You'll be surprised how much of a difference it makes in the overall look and feel of your design. Now, some might think white space is wasted space, but trust me, it's the opposite. It's about being intentional with what you show, and more importantly, what you don't show. Think about luxury brands. They often use a lot of white space in their advertising and packaging. It creates a sense of elegance, sophistication, and exclusivity. It's like saying, we're so confident in our product, it doesn't need to fight for attention. And when it comes to readability, white space is your best friend. It separates paragraphs, gives your text room to breathe, and makes it much easier for people to scan and absorb information. No one wants to read a wall of text, right? So, next time you're designing, think about the white space. Use it strategically to create a clean, elegant, and professional look that elevates your design and makes it a joy to experience. So there you have it, the 7 design principles that can take your work from good to great. We talked about balance, contrast, alignment, proximity, repetition, hierarchy, and white space. Each one plays a crucial role in creating visually appealing and effective designs. Now that you know these principles, start observing designs around you. Which principle do you think is the most important? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more design tips. See you in the next video.